From the shadow of Mount Rainier comes your business superheroes, the Disruptors, Bill and Candace. From the shadow.
I'm Bill.
And I'm Candace.
And we're the Disruptors. Well, the doctor is in today at our show. Isn't that wonderful?
I always love it when Dr. Troy comes.
That's right. We get some good information, and your coloring looks a lot better since the last visit that he came, so evidently you tried some of his ideas out.
You know what? He is such a wealth of information.
Green.
Welcome to the show.
It is awesome to be here. I love every time I come.
Well, that's great.
Bill is always quite entertaining. We never quite know what's going to come out of Bill.
That's true. Well, today I definitely want to disrupt you guys. I'm going to tell you that. We're going to shake the roof on this one.
I like that. You know what? Should we put our seatbelts on?
Absolutely.
Before we take off?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, Bill would better put
I'm on the
seatbelt
floor again as usual, so I'm ready. So let's do it.
So, Dr. Troy, what are we actually going to talk about today?
Today I want to bring to you the concept of how we get a cold or flu and what we do about it. And maybe even dispel some myths, educate some people, and really blow some minds today.
Well,
Awesome.
in my case, blowing the mind would be exciting. In your case, Candace, we know it's already
Bill
over.
is often sick during the winter.
Yes, I am.
So, you know, Grumpy Grandpa shows up, and we don't like that.
Got it.
Yes.
So how do we get sick?
So, sickness is, as people believe, maybe we should even start with some myths, because people are going to say, oh, I get sick when I slept under an open window.
Yes, and I love my window open.
Yes, and I can't tell you how many people sleep with their window open, and they got to be saying right now that's not true. It doesn't mean a thing when you sleep with an open window, get sick. I have lots of clients that like to sleep at 55, 60 degrees in the wintertime because they just sleep better.
Absolutely.
In a cold room. How about if we go outside with wet hair?
I have heard that ever since I was a little girl.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I want to hear. You're going to catch the death of pneumonia.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're gonna disprove that too in just a moment. And let's see, what's another one? You know what? I was sitting somewhere and somebody was coughing.
Oh, not the coughing.
Yes. We'd always hear that too, growing up. Cover your mouth because you don't want to get everyone sick around you.
That's
Don't you
right.
remember the Disney videos in school that they would show us when we were little about somebody coughing in bed and watching the spread of this communicable whatever? The picture of that still. It's crazy, and they've solidified in our brains, yet it's not true.
It's not true. Oh. Well, then how does this all work if it's not true?
Well, we have this germ theory that was postulated some 100 plus years ago by Louis Pasteur. And so Louis Pasteur said, hey, I believe germs cause disease. And one of his contemporaries, a gentleman by the name of Beecham, he realized that how could that possibly be? And he started trying to grow bacteria, trying to see what would happen. And what's interesting is in 1973, they actually confirmed his Beecham stuff because they tried to grow parasites, viruses, bacteria, funguses on healthy living tissue. The World Health Organization tried to do this.
Interesting.
And they could not do it.
They couldn't make it grow.
They couldn't make it grow. Why?
I would not have a clue.
Because it naturally resists. Healthy tissue naturally resists disease processes. It doesn't allow infection. And here's the kicker. Here's how I want to solidify it in your minds that is absolutely not true. Inside our body, we are outnumbered 9-1 by foreign cells. Think about that.
9-1.
9-1. Every cell in your body has 9 other viruses, bacteria, funguses, protozoa that are right outside those cells waiting to invade, but they can't.
Wow.
So how do we even exist? I mean, it sounds like there's a war.
It does, but there's always this homeostasis going on inside the body.
How interesting.
And we could say it's even homeodynamic. It's adapting all the time to the situations. Homeostasis is a farce, really. Mm-hmm. If we had no stress at all in our lives, we could certainly maintain some type of homeostasis or even keel.
Wow.
But because things are always happening, there's stress, there's different foods, we're always coming in contact with whatever, our body is naturally adapting all the time. So here's the thing that happens, or at least how we can explain it too. We've watched these Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom. You remember those?
Yes, heavens yes.
Wasn't that fabulous?
Oh,
Yes.
it really was,
Yeah,
yes.
we would stay up to watch. Yeah, we would watch it Sundays.
Oh, yes.
And we would watch a lion. Now, would a lion go after the strongest gazelle?
No.
No.
Who would he
He'd
go
wait
after?
for the weakest.
He would. He would go after the weakest. Because why?
They were easy to,
Well,
they
they're
were
easy
easy
to
targets.
catch, yeah.
Easy
Num num.
targets. So if I have a
Num.
cell who is in my body and it's malnourished, it's not doing well, it's now swollen, it can't clean itself out, it's now sick. Guess who it's easy target to invade? A virus or bacteria is going to invade that cell and now start trying to replicate itself inside that cell. That's how it works. So what is the natural habitat of a virus or bacteria? It isn't healthy living tissue, because the World Health Organization already figured that out in 1973.
No, we don't.
It's diseased tissue. You already have to be sick in order to get
Sicker.
sick. Yeah.
Wow.
And so if you both were sick right now, coughing on me, spitting on me, throwing up on me, you could not get me sick if my body is healthy. If it is not, then yeah, I will likely succumb to getting sick. But it's not you that made me sick. I was already sick. You just provided the medium or the bug.
So how about sleep? Because I often hear, I mean, especially in the fall, winter, if you're not getting enough rest, then you're more susceptible. Is that a myth, or is that actually some good truth to that? Or
There is actually a fair amount of truth to that, because
Okay.
if we think about it, every cell is under stress. It's either handling the stress or it's not. And if we're up too much and we're not getting the rest we need to repair and recuperate and heal, then yeah, we're gonna have problems. We're gonna eventually wear things out. So same thing. Let's say I get enough sleep, but I have a really mentally stressful job in life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Am
working
I-
with Candace.
Exactly.
Yes.
tending to Bill.
Listening to this podcast.
You guys might get sick more often.
That's right.
That's it. I've got to de-stress this situation.
That's right. That's right. And so here we've looked at, okay, so if I'm not getting enough sleep, that would be a physical stressor. If I'm getting too much mental stress, now that's another type of stress. Still stress, but still a different type. And then we've got the third type. What if I'm eating McDonald's every day?
Yeah. Well, what happens if you eat at McDonald's every day?
Wait, they had a video, Supersize Me.
They did. How did he
was
look by the end of that video?
Awful.
He was
awful.
So even though he had a fairly good mental attitude, he seemed pretty positive at the beginning of that video, but he just got sicker and sicker because that's a different type of stress. So we have three types of stress that we're going to come in contact with all day long. And chances are we're going to come in contact with all three every single day. So mental stress, physical stress, and chemical stress. So here we are sitting in this room. We have a table with vinyl on it or whatever. We have a microphone. We have the carpet on the floor. Our clothing has dye. The chairs we're sitting on, they're all outgassing chemicals.
Right.
Now, are we passing out right now and ending this podcast?
No, we're
No,
still
we're
still
handling.
engaged. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
No,
handling.
I passed out about 5 minutes ago.
Did you? Okay, well, you
Yeah.
look good now.
Thank you.
And so, we handle a lot of chemical stress, but is there a limit? Of course. Is there a limit to the mental stress? Absolutely, there's a limit. Is there a limit to physical stress? Well, yeah, people die in accidents all the time. And so our body has limitations in each of these things because, unfortunately, this matter we call a body has limitations. But we can do some things that now strengthen that and help it not succumb to things like colds and flu. So let's talk about some things that people will do for colds and flu. One of my favorite topics is what's everybody love to take when they get cold?
Vitamin C, because my mom growing up would shove this great big huge quarter size or 50-cent size, thing on my way going out the door and head it off, and she'd say, "Take your vitamin C."
Yes.
And I would suck on that the whole way to school.
Sure. Might even have a little zinc in it. Great. So vitamin C is what everybody does for colds. And unfortunately, in our country, if we go to a health food store and we grab a bottle of vitamin C off the shelf and it says 500 milligrams, we turn it over and we see, 500 milligrams, it says in parentheses of ascorbic acid.
Yeah.
So by law, the government said, whatever product you sell will be judged by the amount of ascorbic acid in it as how much vitamin C it has. And the drug company said, wait a minute, there's 500 things that make vitamin C what it is. You mean it just is going to be judged on how much ascorbic acid? Well, yeah. You mean we could just synthesize ascorbic acid in a lab and just put it in a capsule and sell it? Sure. Can we call it vitamin C? Well, yeah, you can. So thus they have, for decades, produced ascorbic acid in a lab, and they sell it to us, and we think that we're getting this wonderful vitamin C. But ascorbic acid was named ascorbotic, against scurvy, because they were looking for the anti-scurvy factor.
Right.
And when they discovered the vitamin C complex, the first thing they hit was the outer protective coating, the preservative. And when they isolated that chemical on a gas chromatograph and they saw what it was made of and they reproduced it in a lab, they gave it to people that had scurvy. And they said, hey, we know that 5-6 milligrams is going to be way enough for anybody to get rid of scurvy. 5-6 milligrams. But they said, we're going to manufacture 250 milligrams of ascorbic acid.
Wow.
We're going to give it to somebody who has scurvy, and we're going to watch them get better, like, instantly. That's what they thought. They gave somebody with scurvy about 250 milligrams of ascorbic acid. They still had scurvy.
Oh.
And they said, 500 milligrams, that's definitely going to do it. Still had scurvy. And they said, okay, 750 milligrams, they still had scurvy. 1,000 milligrams, I can't even believe we're going to give somebody this much ascorbic acid, but we're going to do it. And they still had scurvy. They gave them a teaspoon of lemon juice, and their scurvy went away.
Teaspoon.
And they realized they did not find the anti-scurvy factor. They found something, but they don't know what they found.
Oh, my goodness.
And so then as they started discovering really what vitamin C was, the core of the vitamin C complex is actually tyrosinase. It's the most important enzyme that you can have in it. And so if they really were going to isolate something, at least they should have isolated that. But they couldn't produce that in a lab. And that might be a conversation for another time. But suffice to say, don't take any more ascorbic acid. It's really quite worthless. I know that's a shock. But again, we're disruptors.
Yeah, we're disrupting. And I have a drawer full of vitamin C at home. Well,
I kind of feel like we've been, once again, I kind of feel like we've been lied to and sold a bill of goods. Mm-hmm. And so they make this stuff in a lab, the ascorbic acid.
Now they make it out of corn syrup in China, actually.
Okay.
Genetically modified corn syrup, by the way.
So now we're taking GMO products that are, we already know that they're not good. And there's multiple lawsuits against Monsanto and all this other stuff going on, which we won't get into that. But.
True. But here everybody thinks they're taking something that's healthy for them and actually genetically modified, and they have no idea. I can guarantee if you're taking vitamin C and ascorbic acid right now, you're probably taking a GMO product.
That is awful.
it's not making me feel any healthier at the moment. Thank you.
So what can we take? So
Absolutely.
Instead of that, what can we do?
So most people, because of our diet, will eat a lot of grains, or just a lot of carbs. And so that makes our gut more and more alkaline. The more alkaline our gut is, the more colds we have. Because our bacteria doesn't like alkalinity. It needs to be acidic in the gut. As the gut is more acidic, it actually is able to draw acids off the body. It's strong enough to do it. That's its job. And so one of the buffers that actually help is calcium. And so calcium is trying to buffer the blood so it doesn't get too acidic or too alkaline and keep that alkalinity and acidity at bay so that we don't get sick as much. But guess what runs the immune system? God was so cool. He put the marrow in the center so that it can be covered by its most potent thing that runs the immune system, called our bones. Calcium runs our immune system. And so when we get sick, I tell people, don't take vitamin C. Take a good calcium supplement. And there are so many bad calcium supplements out there, so if you don't know what you're doing, please call me, and we'll talk about it. But when we do more calcium, we now have this ability to control acidity and alkalinity in the gut, but also now enhance the immune system and allow it to drive out that which is within us and begin to heal. Now, let me explain at least vitamin C. I don't want to play down vitamin C because it's absolutely important in colds and flus. And so vitamin C and vitamin E keep the cellular matrix. So I say matrix. Every cell has this fluid around it. If that fluid becomes too stagnant, too debris-ridden, not clean, it almost becomes like gelatin. And so now the cells get dirty. They can't get stuff out, and now they're a cesspool, if you will, and now they start to swell. We talked about that swelling. That cell that swells, now bacteria and virus can invade. So vitamin C, true vitamin C, the whole complex, the 500 things that make it correct, and vitamin E keep that matrix nice and thin so that we can get all those toxins